Good morning, my fellow Africans and the world at large. This is Emmanuel Kojomensa once again, coming into your homes and your minds with a message of empowerment and enlightenment, all the way from Ontario, Canada. Today is the 10th of August in the year 2022, and the Bible says, "This is the day the Lord has made. We should rejoice and be glad in it." And for that matter, I take this opportunity to invite the whole world, any man or woman listening to me or hearing my voice, to join me to give thanks to God for the day that He has granted unto us. And life in general, life is beautiful, life is wonderful, life is glorious, life is God Himself, flowing through all things, including mankind. Today, I am going to speak to you on the topic, all things in the universe are ready for your taking if you are ready to pay the price. I repeat, all things in the universe are ready for your taking if you are ready to pay the price. The world we live in, or the universe we find ourselves, there is everything that a man or woman needs in his life for a successful life. Everything is around us. There is no scarcity, and no one is shortchanged. No one is being denied. The universe is generous, and it gives to every man or woman according to his rightful earnings, says my mentor, James Allen. And so today we are going to look at this aspect of our lives. There is no way that when you go, people will not complain about what they do not have, what they have, and what they are not getting. And so every day we go about blaming and complaining about the scarcity, the shortage, how some people are holding, how some people are taking things that some others are not able to get. Others too are saying that the rich are only being rich, or they have become rich because of their greed, because of their selfishness. And therefore, there should be a system that the wealth of the rich will be distributed in such a way that it will be sufficient for every man or woman. Well, from the superficial or from the ordinary mind's point of view, this is true. But as a matter of fact, there is no such a moral in the universe. If such a thing happens, then children should be exempted from disasters that they have nothing to do about it. A child born for about a couple of weeks, find him or herself in the middle of an accident that he didn't even actually agree to go on such a journey. It was the parents that took him or her without even his consent. But when the accident happened, sometimes they actually become the victim, the children. And so if this morality really exists, then children should be exempted from such situations. In the same way, a child who is happily playing has no concept of fire, and therefore she sees the fire, he or she sees the fire, he or she runs to the fire and put her hand in the fire. If that morality that we are thinking of really exists in the universe, then the law governing the fire would have exempted the child on the grounds that the child is innocent. She hasn't done anything. But that is not what we see. And I can give you example of some of these things that goes on in our lives. So it tells us that we are governed by laws. And once you obey the laws, the results will come back to you as favorable. But once you go against the law, the results will come back to you as unfavorable. So, and that is why we say you create your own realities based on your understanding or your ignorance of the law. So in the universe, everything that we need is already in existence in and around us in the unseen world, in the mental and spiritual world. Believe it or not, the car whatever thing that you're looking for is right with you. And even those that are yet to come into our consciousness, those that are not yet invented, they are all with us. But they only come into our existence only at the level at which we are ready to pay the price. And so when we go back to the rich and the poor situation, there are many people that rose from rags to riches. Such people, they were not born into any rich families. They were not born into any high class families, but they rose from the rags to become rich. And so, if we are actually saying that someone who has gone through such difficult times to become rich and his wealth should be distributed in such a way that other people should also enjoy, then we are not being fair to that person. And I can go on to give you examples of the richest people that we had in the past and even now in the world that were actually born to poor people. They started with nothing and now they have something. I can give you an example. One of them is Andrew Carnegie. Rockefeller was one time the richest man. So is Andrew Carnegie. And even recently, Henry Ford in the past too was born into a poor family. The maker of the Ford Motors or the creator of the Ford cars. We can also look at our current situation right now. And we can talk of Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was not born into any high-class family. Actually, he was even an adopted child. But he rose to become who he was before he departed into the afterworld. Look into your life. Look through the whole universe, the world that we live in. There are so many men and women that rose from this state to become rich. So the distribution of wealth, as we are talking of, is not the issue. It's not the answer to end poverty. It's not the answer to end all the sufferings in our world. But the answer to this, the answer to end poverty, is about the understanding of life principles, the laws that governs us. And so the universe we live in, as I was saying, everything that we have, we are looking for is with us here. And it is only those who will be conscious, who will discover this truth and be conscious of it and walk in that direction that actually goes on to become successful and become rich. No one is shortchanged. The resources are available. Everything that we need are available. And therefore, unless, of course, some people are being prevented from using whatever they want to use to create their life. But that is not the case. But it is all about understanding and the determination and readiness to pay the price that is attached to whatever you are desiring. And so today I'm going to use an analogy to present this situation. And our life or the world we live in could be likened to a very big pond or a lake. And on the lake, we have one side and the other side of the lake. And then the owner of the lake has placed a lot of goods, beautiful and high quality things on the other side of the lake. And then on the lake, he has intentionally covered the lake with toys or false animals, wild animals like crocodiles, alligators, snakes, sharks, and covered the lake. He's actually placed them in such a way that they look like normal animals or these wild animals in this water. And then he gathered all other men on this side. And the challenge was, all the goods that are on the other side are yours to take. But the fact is that you must swim across the lake to the other side before you can own any of the things over there. But in the lake, as I'm telling you, you can see the alligators, you can see the snakes, you can see all the wild animals that they will eat you up. But I am not denying you the chance to go there. The only way you can go and pick any of these things is to swim in between and battle with all these wild animals and go there and pick it. And so when Ben and Ben get it, some people look at it and say, "No, come on, forget. I am not. I will never go. I will never do these things in my life. Then I would prefer to be poor. I would prefer to be in my current condition." So they resigned, and therefore they actually departed and walked away. They didn't even want to stand there to look at what other people are doing. Some too just sat down and they are pleading every day, pleading with the man, the owner of the pond, that he should give them the opportunity by just giving them some of the things rather than asking them to go and to swim across the lake that is full of all these wild animals that will eat them up. So they are there every day, they are praying, every day they are praying. And then there are some that have just made the place, they've just sat down and they are just sitting down observing, doing nothing, but they're just observing what is happening. And so that is how our life is. Every one of us is in this category. And those that have resigned, we have people that have given up on their dreams. They've given up on whatever they want to do because they believe that the challenge, the price or the cost attached to that is so great that they don't want to risk their life. So they've given up and they move on. They don't care. And then there are some that are every day praying to God. And that is the religious, particularly the church people. They are every day praying to God for blessings, praying to God for all the things that they need. But every day God is telling them that, look, these are the things that you need. I've provided them, but you have to pass the challenge. You have to pass the challenge before you get it. They are not getting the message. So every day they pray. And that is what we do in our churches now. We pray and pray and pray 365 one-quarter days or 365 days, depending on the type of, whether it's a leap year, whatever. But whatever we are doing yields nothing. We are not getting anything. Even our situation is even becoming worse. Why is it so? Because there is a rule. There is a requirement to the things that you are asking for. And for you to get that thing, you must meet that requirement. You are supposed to swim amongst the alligators, the crocodiles, the snakes, and all those things. But you must do it. If you don't do it, you don't get it. So that is how our life is. The universe is the owner of the pond. And everything that we are looking for is the world that we live in. Everything is with us here. But before you gain whatever you're looking for, you have to pay a price. And the price is that the challenge that you are taking on will look scary. It will look so scary in such a way that you don't want to attempt it. And so when we go back to the scenario of all these groups, as some people have walked away, as some people have made a place their abode and they're just sitting down observing, and as some are begging the owner of the pond for these favors, a few of them came and they gave them the challenge. They embraced it. They said, "Oh, I am going to use my power and all that be die. If I die, that is it. If I live, that is it. So I am going to battle these animals and go there and take what belongs to me." Then they started. So when they fell into the lake, or when they fall into the lake, as they begin to swim, they begin to realize that, oh, these are not real alligators. These are not real crocodiles. They are just illusions. And so the battle with this one, while these people are sitting down, looking at them, battling with them, and they believe that they are so strong. Oh, they are overcoming the alligators. They are overcoming that. And then one by one, step by step, they swim across the lake and they go to the other side and pick what belongs to them. And then when it comes that way, those who haven't taken that challenge will sit down and say, oh, they are favored. No, they are greed. It is because of their selfishness that they are rich. But that is not the case. Everyone was given the chance to try. But the bedrock or the key thing that has prevented all the other people, with the exception of the few that has actually swam across the lake, is fear. Fear. When they saw the alligators, they thought it is so, this is something that I am not going to risk my life for. So fear crippled them. And that is why Ralph Waldo Emerson says that fear defeats more people than any other one thing in the world. I repeat, fear defeats more people than any other one thing in the world. He also said, fear always springs from ignorance. And this is why I want us to look at it from. Fear always springs from ignorance. So looking at the scenario I've given, toy or rubber alligators and crocodiles have scared men and women from swimming to go for their goods. And it is in the same way. Those crocodiles, alligators in the lake are the problems, the difficulties, the risk involved in what you want to do. What you want to do is the goods that has been arranged over there. But before you achieve that, you have to go through a certain thing, a certain pain, a certain kind of experience that will be humiliating. That people will call is so embarrassing. But the fact is that if you don't go through that, you will not go to the other end to become what you want to become. And so the universe has thrown every one of us the challenge. And it is our responsibility to take up the challenge and move in that direction. And as those who swam in the scenario, in the analogy, those who swam across the lake, they eventually realized that, oh, all these things are not true. They are false alligators, they are false snakes. And therefore, they gathered courage and swam across. In the same way, whatever thing that you are seeing as a problem, blocking or as a limitation, or whatever thing you can call it, limiting you or blocking you from achieving your goals, when you begin it with confidence and faith and determination, as you approach these problems, you will eventually come to see that, oh, these are illusions. It doesn't actually sound or look as I thought at the beginning. And then your courage, your confidence begins to grow. It begins to grow. Then you go over to overcome the challenge and you become whatever you want to be. And that is life. And so this swimming in life that we have to swim across the lake is something that is mandatory. If you want to be rich, then you must do what the rich people have done to become rich. If you want to be successful, then you must do what the successful people have done to become the successful. But unfortunately, men and women, the bulk of the human population, are not ready to pay the price. To be honest with you, let me remind you of our topic today. All things in the universe are ready for your taking if you are ready to pay the price. And also invoking the words of William Shakespeare, that all things are ready if our mind be so. All things are ready if our minds be so. Everything that you're looking for is ready, but your mind must be ready to accept the difficulties, the challenges that comes with it. Before you have to break through all those things before you actually get the actual thing. And so your life, you are not poor. It is your own ignorance and your fear. The fear that came out, that has gripped you out of your ignorance, that has made you poor. God is ready. Everything that we need is already with us. You can create the most beautiful and a wonderful thing in the world wherever you are. If you are ready to pay the price, you have to go through a certain process. When you sit down, you have the idea, but you see that when you begin to follow that path, there will be difficulties. A time will come that you will lose all your things. You will go through humiliating situations. You have to beg people for money. You have to depend on other people for all other things. But if you keep calm and just go on in determination and faith, in belief, you will eventually triumph. And that is when you become one of them. If you want to become one of them, you have to do what they are doing. If you want to be like a duck, you have to walk like a duck. That is the truth of life. So all things are ready. All things are ready. All things are ready. If our minds are ready too, or if your mind is ready, you are living a poor and a sour life because you are not ready to pay the price. So at our individual level, every one of us, we fall in this category. We fall in that category. You know where you are. You have your dreams. You have your ideas. They are dear to you. You want to pursue it. Instead of you sitting down, labeling and typing all the challenges that you are likely to face, that you are doing analysis, put it down and begin to take the steps. All those things that you are envisioning, all those things that you are analyzing are illusions. When you try it, when you begin, you will realize that, oh, this is not what I actually thought at the beginning, because there is something that is giving you the ideas, opportunity, and all the things will open. But you must be ready to go through the challenges. The fact is that there is a price attached to it. There is a price attached to it, and that is the swimming and the difficulties. Yes, the challenges may appear real. The difficulties may appear real, just as those false alligators and false snakes in that water looks real. But as you begin to approach them and attack them, you come to the realization that they are not real, but they are simply illusions. They are just the shadows of your own mind. And if you take those shadows, if you take those illusions off, you begin to see the right thing, and you rise to become one of the rich. So the idea of calling people, calling that the world's wealth must be redistributed is simply a mistake and out of ignorance. No one is shortchanged. No one. There is no ceiling on the mind of any man or woman as to how to think. There is no limitation on any man or woman as the level of risk you want to take. But the level of risk you are ready to take will determine what you be. And the level at which you want to use your mind will determine what you want to be or what you will be. So instead of we talking of redistribution of physical wealth, then we have to think of we using our minds, the clear-cut or the crystal use of our minds to create and to generate ideas that are more of high level, high quality. That is the truth of life. So at your individual level, that is how it is. And so as I have always been doing, and that has been my focus, I am speaking to the whole world. But this message is directed at my fellow Africans. We have been ignorant about some things. We sit down and we think that things will come to us, but we don't want to pay the price. Whatever thing that any man or woman is looking for, there is a price to it. But we must be ready to pay. Unfortunately, Africa, we are not ready. We talk of corruption. The main cause of corruption in Africa is the mindset or the habit of instant gratification. People who do not want to pay the price, but they want to enjoy. That is Africans. We do not want to pay the price, but we want to enjoy. So at the individual level, everyone is looking at how he can beat the system, how he can get something from whatever he's doing for his fellow human being. And so every day, we are going against the laws of nature, the laws of the universe, and our own laws of being. That is not what you are created for. That is not why you are here. You are supposed to embrace and approach your difficulties. And as you approach your challenges in relating to your dreams and visions, then you begin to see that they will all fall of their illusions. And so corruption in Africa is not in only one man, it's in every man or woman in Africa, because we are only preoccupied with instant gratification. We want to gain, but we don't want to suffer. We want to gain, but we don't want to suffer. That is a wrong mindset. And this is the time that we have to rise to correct it. And the truth is that everything in the universe, there is a price to it. Everything in the universe is ready. It's ready for you, if only you are ready to pay the price. So this is the time that you have to rise up, my fellow Africans. Yeah, we are doing everything. We are doing everything that We want to make ourselves great. We want to do that, but we're not ready to pay the price. We're not ready to pay the price. The African must put himself through a certain pain, a certain difficulty, not just for any reason, but because of his own ideas, because of his own dreams, and move on, go on in that direction and go to achieve it. And when you achieve it, you become one of the successful people. And all of us doing this, having this mentality, or even a fraction, a good fraction of us, having this mentality, we can drag our nations, our continent from this poverty, lack, and underdevelopment to another level. The inventors in America, the inventors in the US, all of them are in Africa. They lived and died, and they are still living. Why? Because we are not using our minds. The one who created aeroplane in America, there was an equivalent person in Africa who could have also created something. But the African didn't even have the concept, or even if he had that inclination, if he had that concept, he looked at the task, the difficulties and challenges, then he would declare, who am I to do this? When you suggest things to people, they tell you, who am I to do it? Who am I? Where do I come from? What do I have? And then they begin to, mark themselves out. This is the time you have to disabuse your mind of that. Take that off your mind and begin to accept the truth that God is generous. God is ever ready with you. Just as the air you are breathing is everywhere. Wherever you go, the air you are breathing is there. You don't have to make any special arrangement for the air you are breathing. In the same way, whatever you are looking for is there for you. If only you have your spiritual and mental noses open, just as your noses are open, and absorb, take in that, and it will come into your life, in your afterlife, as a reality. So everything is ready. Are you ready to pay the price? Whatever you are looking for is right with you. The ideas you have will take you to another, a higher level, that men and women will sing to your praises. But you are dead to the truth. And today, as a messenger, my job is to remind you, my job is to bring your mind, your conscious mind to this truth, that all things are ready if our mind be so, as William Shakespeare said. So when you look at this at the individual level, that is how it is. Every one of us have to swim. So are you swimming? Are you one of those that have given up and they've already moved on? They've just walked away from the lake. They don't even want to see it. Or are you one of those that are there praying? And that one I know, almost all Africans fall in this category. We are praying every day, but we don't want to pay the price. Prayer without action is meaningless. Prayer without action is meaningless. When I say action, I'm not talking about just going to weed or do your farm work or go to the market and sell and out. No, that is the normal way of living. But you have to do something on top, something that will take you from that level and put you at that top. But you have to be ready to pay the price. The price is what it matters. The paying of the price. The paying of the price is that matters. So every one of us must begin to analyze our lives and see where we fall in. The only reasonable, the only classification, the only group that you have to be among is the few. The few, those few guys or men and women who came and said, okay, I am going to take on this challenge and I'm going to battle with these animals and I know I am going to win and take whatever belongs to me. Even if I get hurt, when I get there, the doctors are there to take care of me. The Spirit of God, the presence of God is there to take care of me. That is the mindset you need to take. And then you begin to work on your dreams such that you work on it with complete confidence and power. And you will overcome. You will realize that all these challenges and problems are illusions. They are illusions. They are false. And so when we look at it at this level, that is the truth. And then we move ourselves to the collective level as Africans. Collective level. I always do this because individuals are those who are put together as a collection, and they become a community, they become a family, they become a society. So you will see that in your family, that family is a collection of people. Your community is a collection of people. Your district is a collection of people. Your country is a collection of people. So when the country has a bad outlook, then it means the collection of people in that country that have bad outlook. The Ghana map that we have, it has no meaning. It has no meaning. It's just a demarcation. But the real meaning is the real state of the people of Ghana, Nigeria, Togo, Congo, or whatever. That is it. So when the people in a nation are of high substance, they think and know the truth and move in the right direction, there is no way that outsiders will see that country as something that is not doing well, because the people there are doing the right thing. And so it is with our nations. I have given you the truth of life. This is the time that we have to get up and move in that direction. We want to make our nations great. We want to make our country great. We want to make Africa great. But the fact is that the greatness, there is a price to it. And we have to pay the price. We have to pay the price. The one that wants to be an inventor must pay the price by taking his ideas, whatever he has received, and working on it, regardless of how faint it is, regardless of all the challenges and difficulties that people may tell or he may actually identify. They are illusions. They are those false alligators and snakes in the imaginary or examples, the scenario, the pawn in the scenario. And it is your right, it's your responsibility to be bold, overcome your fear. And as Emerson said, fear always springs out of what? Ignorance. And it's just simply the ignorance of the fact that you are afraid of challenges. They are not there to harm you. They are not there but they are there to make you, to help you build character. They are there to help you build strength. And you go on to win. So this is the time that every African, wherever you find ourselves, both on the continent and diaspora, any black man has to rise up. We have to get up and begin to do what is right. And that is embracing our difficulties. Looking at, taking our dreams and visions in relation to the difficulties, and then begin to work on the dreams and ready to accept, be ready to endure every difficulty, every challenge that comes in and overcome it. We are not enduring it, but we overcome it. And then when we overcome it, we become the great people. We are on the other side of the lake. If you want to be on the other side of the lake and to be like any rich person, any great person has ever lived, then you must walk the path that they have walked. And that is by swimming across this live stream or live lake that is full of challenges, that is full of difficulties, that is full of problems. The difficulties that are blocking your own dreams are your opportunities. Embrace them and begin to work on them. You will see that they are illusions. So Africa must be great. Africa must be great. Every one of us must be great. But we can only be great only by applying wisdom and understanding of the truth of life, understanding the laws of nature. The laws of nature, one of the laws or the laws of the universe, one of the laws is cause and effect, actions and reactions. Actions and reactions. The action and the reactions are equal. The actions and the reactions are equal. The actions and the reactions are equal. If you want to balance a scale, then you have to put the same amount on either side, and then you have a balance. That is the truth of life. So whatever thing that you are doing will give you the results. The results you are getting is an indication of the level of your action. Action in the mind, and then we translate it in the physical, and that becomes a reality. And then that we can say, yes, we have also reason to the level at which we are walking on this earth as our own creators and co-creators of God and the creators of our own favorable and wonderful conditions in our lives. So all things are ready if our minds be so, said William Shakespeare. Is your mind ready? How ready is your mind? How are you ready to pay the price? Are you ready to pay the price? Are you ready to pay the price? And as it is given in the Bible, in the book of Revelation, that's when the scroll was opened and there was the need for someone to come, everyone kept quiet. The whole place became quiet. But the Lion of Judah said, "Lo, I will go." And indeed, we say it is Jesus Christ who took upon the challenge to come and to die and to show us the way. And so it is with you and I. The universe is calling on every one of us who is ready. Africa needs this invention. Africa needs this. Africa needs that. Who is that African that is ready to pay the price, such that you be the greatest inventor for the African people or the world? That is the truth of life. So every day, the scroll is being opened and our names are being, everyone is being called upon. You are being called upon. Whatever thing that is coming into your mind, your dreams, the ideas that you have, and that you are being called upon by the universe. And you have to rise up, just as to rise up as a child of God and take up the challenge and move on to conquer and conquer and conquer. So that is the truth of life. That is the truth of life. Africa, this is the time that we have to rise. This is the time of enlightenment. This is the time of self-liberation. And this is the time of self-empowerment. This is the time of enlightenment, that we will move ourselves forward up to the point that all other people are. All things are ready. That morality that people are propagating, that the wealth of the rich people must be distributed such that everyone will get, is a fallacy. It's a false proposition, because even if we redistribute all these things, we will still create another class of people. And if we do that, we'll still create another class of people, because no man or all men and women don't think alike. We don't think alike. And your thinking is that creates whatever you have. You can give everything that you have to the animals. You can take a goat or a sheep, build a big house, put all the new technology, everything that you have in it, and then put the goats there and allow them to live on their own. You go and come back and meet the place filthy with all the things that you put on destroyed. And it is the same thing with our lives. Any man that has no prosperity consciousness, any man or woman that has no understanding of how these things are created in our life from the mental and spiritual perspective, if you give the person all these physical things, those things will disappear and the person will come back to his wretched state, because he hasn't gotten to that level. And that consciousness, that awareness, that coming to that level is what we are talking about. Africans, we are far away from it. We are far away from it. If you want to busy your mind, if you want to be successful, then begin to think from the mental and spiritual world into the outer world, but not from the outer world into the mental and spiritual world. We look at things on the outer side, oh, we don't have it. Then let us go and pray. We pray. Then sometimes we are disturbing God. Actually, God is not a man or woman. God is wherever you are. God is you yourself. God is in you. God is in everything. Therefore, you only have to rise up and declare to yourself that by my statue as an image and the likeness of God, I have the power and ability to call forth the things that I want from the unseen into my outer world. Then it shall become yours. That is why Jesus Christ gave that whatever you will ask for in prayer, believe it. And once you believe and you don't doubt, it becomes yours. That thing becomes yours. So that is the truth of life. This is the direction that Africa, we are moving right now. We are rising and beginning to work on ourselves. We are brightening our corner. We are not competing with anyone. We are not doing anything because of what other people are doing, but we are reacting, rising, and responding to our own difficulties and challenges with the truth and understanding that we have the right and ability to change our lives. But We are changing our life with a price. We are paying the price. We are paying the price. All things be ready if the mind or if our minds be so. All things in the universe are ready for your taking. That is our topic. But on the condition that you are ready to pay the price. One thing that is so wonderful that when you come to this part of the world, in Europe and North America, and even, yes, we have some of these things in Africa now. When you walk into the shop, the prices are attached to all the things. Once you are able to pay the price, the thing becomes yours. And over here, even if you take it home and you think you don't want, you take it and change it because you've paid the price. You have the right to ask for. In the same way, the universe is ready. It's giving us everything. My brother, my sister, let us pay the price. Pay the price. And when you pay the price and the thing comes to you, if that it is not what you are looking for, you go back and change it. That is by making improvement, making an additional things to it. And that is how it's happening in our lives. So, my brother, my sister African, this is the time for us to begin to think about life from the right perspective. This prayer, steady, looking for job. It is putting us in a certain category as people who are not able to think and do things at a higher level. Yes, we are calling on the determined and men and women who are ready. And as we do this, we drag our fellow men and women along. That is what has happened everywhere. And as I started, all men and women were born the same. Though some were born into rich families, some were born into poor families. But history justifies and gives us the evidence that most of those who were born into rich families died poor. And most of those, or most of those who were born, or some of those of us that were born into poor families rose to become rich, and they actually lived and died as rich men that we are being remembered. So once we have this, there can never be a way that someone is being denied. Wherever you are, whatever your situation may be, whether you were born into a rich family, you were not born into a rich family, you have the right to recreate your life. And the fact is that the difficulty that has been given to the one born into the poor family is an indication of how the person's greatness is. If someone is born into a rich family and he's already rich, there is nothing significant about it. But the one that has a story, to share to the world, is the one that was born into poverty, was born with nothing. The parents are actually, they can't even classify what they belongs to. He rose or she rose to become a world changer. He or she has a story. And so it is you. And so it is all of us. And as I've already been saying, it is the normal order in the society, in the universe, is that the poor will become the rich. The poor will rise to become the rich. The unknown will rise to become known. But when it is the other way, that is a reversion of the order, which is not the right way of looking at things. So the opportunities, the greatest people in the world are you, a man or woman that was born into a poverty and a poor, underdeveloped people. Rise up and pay the price. And once you pay the price and swim to the other side of the lake, everything there belongs to you. And you become one of them, as one of the rich people, one of the great people. And this is the state of mind. This is the state of mind. This is the mindset that the African young men and women, African men and women, it's imperative that we adopt it and walk in that direction. And all things will be ready for Africa. And Africa will be ready for the world. And Africa will be a place that inventions, ideas, wisdom, and knowledge is coming out into the world. Then we become the center of attraction for the whole world. That is my message for you. Once again, now, may the overshadowing presence of God that keeps the stars in the open from falling on us, and keeps the planets in their various orbits such that they do not clash with one another, keep you, lead you, and guide you, direct you in all areas of your life, such that you have an open mind and a receptive heart for this message. That you will walk, you take this message and make it the dominant thought in your consciousness and walk in this direction to move yourself from poverty or whatever situation you are moving by swimming amongst or by battling with all the challenges and difficulties as it is in the scenario, the alligators and the snakes, to the other side and become one of the greatest people in the world. And all of us put together will become the outlook of Africa, people who are developed, and that their development becomes the collective development of Africa, so that it will become attractive. It will become attractive to all men and women from all walks of life to the African soil. Once again, my name is Emmanuel Kwejo Mensah. I am a co-founder of the Eagle Mentality Group. And at Eagle Mentality Group, our determination and our drive is the teaching and the sharing of information about the power of the subconscious mind and universal laws and principles. It is our determination to raise a new group of Africans who will think and do things in a different way, in alignment with the laws of the universe and our own being, such that we will create a new Africa, an Africa that is developed, an Africa that is well developed and has attracted all men and women from all walks of life, such that we live side by side with Africa, demonstrate diversity, a diverse Africa, diverse racial communities across our African continent, so that become the true symbol of God, which is diversity. Thank you, and God bless you.